guys, today we're going to be building Cliff's B18c Honda, pretty easy going build. We're just doing rings, pistons, freshening the motor up and everything. He got the motor and a hatchback that he got. I mean, it's a low mileage motor, but it's a little smoky. But first thing we're going to do is drain this oil. Hopefully I don't get shot.
Yo, I legit could not do that shit.
So, ACL everything. That's all I ever put in my Honda motors. ACL bearings, rings. I mean, this is just re-ringing some stock pistons. So, it doesn't really matter. Stock bore, stock rod, stock pistons, everything. Let's get her going, boys. Alright, now we got to pull off the girdle and the oil pickup. And then under that, we have the mains. All the mains. What the hell's going on?
Fucking squirrels up in the
Sounds
heater,
like
bro.
there's squirrels over there, dude. What the hell? Alright, yeah, we're gonna pull off the shield, the girdle. We have oil pick. Oh yeah, this is where all the fun stuff happens. This is where stuff goes kaboom. Anyways, so we got one. Where's number two? There's number two. There's number three. And number four. So you see how each one's got 2 bolts on it. We're gonna pop those off. Then we're going to go through, I'll show you a trick how to separate the bottom of the rods and the caps. Popped all of our bolts off, well, not the outside ones yet, but if you look, if you see how I left one of these bolts and they're barely threaded on, and then you got this one, they're all unthreaded. These are usually a pain in the ass to try to push the rods down, so what I usually do is take a little extension, set it right there, and just give it a tap. See how that pushes it down? Back out the threads a little bit more. And give it another tap. You definitely don't want to whack the shit out of this because you will mess stuff up. Alright, you're good. Alright, now we got all the caps for the rods off. Now all we gotta do is push down the rods and the pistons through the cylinder and take them out. Alright, so now I'm going to go down here into the top of the piston, into the inside of the piston, so it's not hurting anything. That out, and then boom, there's one. So, everyone's probably like, oh my god, he's using a primer! Well, when you're on the inside of the piston and all you're doing is giving it a, ain't gonna hurt nothing. So now I'll tell you guys right now that I ain't no professional engine builder. I do this stuff for fun, and it's worked out for me so far, so I mean, let's keep out my ways. Boom, there's all your pistons. Now, take my gloves off and I'll show you guys. We got all your rods and pistons out. That's just a free crank, spinning around. So next, I'm going to take off the oil pump actually before we mess with the crank. We'll pop off the oil pump and then we'll come over here, we'll get the main seal off, get all that off, and then we'll start pulling main caps out, and then we'll get this crank out. This whole thing ready to be cleaned up, washed down, and reassembled. Alright, so now I'm just going to pull off this oil pump gear. This has a little built-in keyway. It's not going to come off or anything, but take that out. It shares the same groove as a keyway for the harmonic balancer. Take that off, take your washer off. You need to make sure you put these washers back on, because if you don't, you will chew timing belts and you will chew everything belt-wise, because this is what holds everything in line. To line up exactly where it needs to be belt-wise. So you got to be really careful on what you pry in here, like really, really careful. But you give her a little couple. I usually use like right off the side of the main cap that doesn't have any main surfacing purposes. Just give it a quick little jiggle, jiggle, and boom, there's your oil pump. Now, got the main seal off, got the oil pump off, and other than these main caps, that's all that's holding this dang cranking, so let's get to it and get her out. Alright, so Cliff's cleaning her up right now, spraying some just regular old degreaser on there. I just wanted to go over all this stuff in the back. So our coolant tube and the water pump and all that stuff, we're leaving that all on there. We have no need to touch any of that for this rebuild. PVC box, all that stuff staying, nothing. I mean, this is a OBD2 motor and it's going on OBD1 setup, so that's really irrelevant, useless. Yeah, pretty much all the accessories other than what was needed to take apart to get this rebuilt, short block rebuilt. So yeah, he's gonna let this thing soak up for a minute.
I'll probably do a couple coats on it.
Yeah, a couple coats of that. Yeah, give her a little juicy. But yeah, he's gonna clean that up, and then we're gonna get this thing prepped, dried up, cleaned up, and back over to where we were assembling it and start putting this thing back together. Ready to go back together. It's not obviously a professional hot tank job, but for the point we're trying to get across for this video, for a do-it-yourself rebuild video, I say she came out pretty good. She's still a little wet, all this nasty stuff. I gotta dry it off a little bit better. It's still wet. So yeah, we're gonna throw the crank back in this, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Crank's all back in there. You don't have the caps on yet. As you saw, I put the bearings back on, set them in their locations, and then I'm using this engine assembly lube. People have preferences on what side of the bearings to lubricate. I lube everything. You know, you can never have too much lube. All right, that's just a proven fact in life. So we're gonna get all the caps. Yeah, this is all that stuff. We're gonna get the old bearings out, cleaned up, clean this up real quick, and then put the new bearings in, put them back on, get the crank fastened down. I believe we're gonna torque all these bolts to 56 foot-pounds, and then that will be the crank, and then we'll work on the pistons. We got a perfectly good, rolling, ready to go crankshaft, all fastened in. So now we'll put the main seal back on, put the oil pump back on, get those all bolted in. Alright, now we got the oil pump back in there, main seal back in there, flip around, and then we are going to go on the pistons, checking the ring gaps. What we're going to do, I'm basically show you real quick. We're going to take our rings, alright, now we got the oil pump back in there, main seal back in there, flip around, and then we are going to go on the pistons, checking the ring gaps. What we're going to do, I'm basically show you real quick. We're going to take our rings, first and second rings, we're going to basically take them out, set them individually inside here. We'll push them down the tops of the pistons. We'll measure it with a feeler gauge, see where we're at. I'm pretty sure we'll be perfectly fine. There's a pretty wide range that you can fall in between. This isn't a high horsepower build. Again, so it doesn't really matter to us. As long as it's within that service limit. Yeah, like he said, as long as he's not burning too much oil, will be good. Because right now he's over here scrubbing the tops of his pistons off. Soaked them for a little bit, like what, like 30 minutes? Not even. 30 minutes, soaking them in there. I can tell you what, it wasn't black.
Yeah, the show was orange.
But anyways, getting those all cleaned up. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna check these. I'm gonna set first ring, second ring. I'm gonna put them in their new holes. Start with the first ones, and I'm gonna measure that all up, and then after we do that, put them on the pistons and get the oil rings all on there and everything, and we're gonna shove them back in their hole. All the first piston rings are in. I use this, the actual piston, and all you do is just carefully push them down. I usually go about to the last ring, do that in all of them. And now we are going to stick the feeler gauge right in that slot, and we're gonna see what our ring gap is. All of our rings on piston number 1 You probably can't see too well in the video. Let me try to do this. Top ring, I usually line it up each corner of the piston. So you got your top ring, the gap right there on that corner. Your second ring gapped on that corner. And then for the oil ring, I flip over to this side. This is a lot harder to explain because I can't really play with these rings like that. But bottom ring is on that corner. Top ring is on this corner. And then I set the gap for the middle where the oil, I call it the slinky ring. I don't know why I call it the slinky ring, but I do. That one is in the middle, so it's outsides, top, bottom, outsides, and then you got your middle. And then obviously you do that on this side and this, so you have no interference with your ring gaps. So yeah, we're gonna put this in. A lot of people don't like my way, but if you have the right tool to use, I just use a 3-inch V-band clamp. Put it around the top of here, compress all the rings, set it right down there. All, for the most part, put back together. Everything's good, nothing's binding up, everything's free. It's what you want to see. So I just went ahead and torqued down all the rod caps to, I believe, 34 foot-pounds, because this isn't, like I said, this isn't all aftermarket. This is all OEM stuff, so if you over torque this stuff, it'll go snap. Now all I gotta do is get the oil pan accessories, we'll call them, your oil pickup tube and your girdle shield, your scatter shield, I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, looks like we're good. Alright, well, sorry that video got a little choppy towards the end, but we got the short block all assembled, oil pan's back on, everything's good, it spins nice like everything should. The next video that we post is going to be the assembly of the head. We're going to get the head all done, get that all cleaned up, new valve seals put in it. That's all we're doing, valve seals and that. And then we're going to get this motor back. Hopefully by the end of this week we'll have the motor back in the car. It's still pretty snowy and stuff here in Syracuse, so who knows? Maybe we'll get in it. Get it in the car and give you a nice smoky burnout video. But until then, that was our first real video on this channel. There's going to be all kinds of stuff that's going to be coming out of this channel. Racing, engine building, not just Honda motors, bike motors, small engine stuff, everything. So far so good. Just keep watching, subscribe, like, comment, do all that fun stuff, and we'll be back with the next one hopefully within the next couple days.